So one of the big things which I'd spoken about in the past was actually to do with we as Roadmap MBA in our team had applied something called Y Combinator. So the Y Combinator program is that if you are ever going to start a startup and you have the ambition to build a billion-dollar business, there are lots of different accelerator programs around the world that you can apply to. In theory, of course, you don't need to apply to any, you can just do it. But the truth is, there are so many landmines to avoid, there are so many hurdles to jump, and there's so many unknowns that actually, if you can get a support ecosystem to help you, that certainly kind of helps. If you've never heard of Y Combinator or YC, Google it. These guys helped launch Dropbox, Stripe, Coinbase, and I think it's a huge number. It's like 46 unicorns worldwide. They're based in California. And actually what they do is that it's the incubator system where they give you $500,000, but also introduce you to VCs and help build your startup and learn and iterate and actually go through this 12-week program, which ends in something called Demo Day, which is then basically where you get to pitch to a big room full of the world's biggest investors with the hope that some invest, and then you go on this fabulous kind of journey. They have about 20,000 applicants every year. So the chance to get in is less than 1%. But yeah, so essentially what we did with the startup, because I've kind of funded this all myself, is that we applied in, I think it was 7th or 9th of February. The applications closed in April, and you found out good or bad in May. We found out about a week ago that we didn't get in. And basically, so that's cool. So basically that door is closed for now. You can always kind of reapply. But what does that mean for us? I guess it's funny because you kind of build up your business to adapt or pivot or change based on the circumstance. And if you ever get the chance to go somewhere like this, it's like the chance if you play football or soccer to get a trial at Barcelona. You should go for it because you never know, you could get in and become the next Messi and go on for this incredible career. But if you get rejected from Barcelona, that's okay because there's still 10,000 other clubs around the world that might love to have you and help you go on that kind of journey. So for us, like, yes, I did build up for that entry and to hopefully then just accelerate and set things up so that if we got $500,000, I could then just execute, invest that and then grow much quicker. That avenue is now shut, but it does mean that we can explore others, and I'm going through that process to try and figure out what's the best way to grow and adapt and pivot so it doesn't kind of stop us. Being honest, I don't think we're going to apply again in 2023, and actually since we already started to prep the application. So what we started to work on it back in October, we started to build up the plan for writing the submission and working on everything before we then kind of submitted. But since then, especially in January, we had the launch of ChatGPT. So we had a huge boost and boom in AI, which became the kind of cool thing. And what that's done is that a lot of the venture capital attention has now gone onto AI related products and services. So realistically, I would expect to see that a huge amount of people that were expected or accepted to YC this batch probably are related to AI. For us as a business though, and actually for anyone that does business education, the other thing which I think is really important, which relates to AI, is the fact that in the era of ChatGPT, and actually I've been starting to play with Midjourney and a few of the other AI tools as well, almost the era for charging for information in some ways is now gone. That in the past, if you wanted to learn stuff, you had to pay to go to university that had all this information that would teach you the information, and then you could learn and become an engineer and then go off into your career. But now with AI, there are some dubious things about where the sourced information comes from, but the whole world has changed that you don't necessarily have to buy a book on how to write a business plan because AI will just tell you for free. So because of that, I think the world has changed a lot. So what we need to do and what other people need to do is adapt and pivot. What I'm tempted to do, which I'm going to look into, in the same way that Wikipedia is an open source encyclopedia to help people around the world learn and grow and develop, I'm tempted to go open source with the roadmap because again, this isn't about making money. It's about helping people get access to stuff that can help them build a better life for themselves. That actually what it's doing is just forcing my hand to think about actually what do we want to build? How can that have the greatest good in the world, but also still compete with people with billion-dollar budgets that I simply kind of don't have. So although we did get rejected from YC, and was I sad? I was sad for a little bit because there are pros and cons, and likewise, it'd be wonderful if you got a big slug of money and the prestige and stuff that kind of comes with it. It's like recognition for your idea. It would have been great to get in. We didn't, but that's not going to kind of stop us or stop what we're trying to do. It will just involve a little bit of a pivot, but actually I'm quite excited to see what the future holds. Did you apply to YC? I'd love to know. Drop me a comment on YouTube or any of the other platforms. What are you planning to do next if you didn't get in? And then likewise, are you planning to kind of reapply as well?